to Adventure Fables. I'm Tracie, and this is Michelle.
We are actually doing our wrap-up, our epilogue for our first season, the start of something fun. We're just going to talk about what happened, what went on.
Can you believe it? We finished season 1.
Yes.
Up top, friend.
Yes! Okay, so what did you enjoy the most about this season?
Honestly, this is the craziest thing we've ever done.
Yes.
And we do a lot of crazy stuff, so that says a lot.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe we're doing it. Like, we had talked it over. If you watch our very first video, you'll see what I mean. But, like, we jumped in. Honestly, oh my gosh, we saw so many different bookstores. So we made so many amazing memories. I think the thing that sticks out to me is when we went to the one in Chagrin Falls. And we found none other than a waterfall behind the bookstore. That was just such a special moment and such a neat little surprise right in that adventure. So how about you?
I enjoyed the conversation that I had with the lady at Completely Booked. I know we didn't record that, but the lady at Completely Booked and we just had this long, wonderful conversation about books and reading, and it was so nice, and I think that's the love of it. And also, it was so nice to go back to Loganberry.
Yes, I second that, absolutely.
That was
special, really special.
Yes.
Because that's where it started for us. That's where it all started.
Yes.
So that's exceptional. So what books did you read that you bought while we were on our adventures?
So, I finished all the books that I had talked about reading in our intro, and so I had finished.
Yay!
Yes, yay that I finished those. Perelandra. If you have not read C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, you need to do it. Perelandra is so beautiful, so wonderful. It was so good to read. To read.
Now, is it standalone? Can you read it?
You can read them standalone. Yes, you can. But, like, to get the full story, you should read them all. You know?
You just added to everyone's TBR pile now. Not 1, but 3. But according to your math, 1 series is 1 book.
It is. When you're buying them. When you're buying them, a series is 1 book. When you're reading them, they're separate.
Oh, you're adding some fine print to that statement. Okay, I got it. I'm up to speed now.
Because then that's 3 books you read and not 1.
Wow. Nice math, friend.
Book math. It's so much fun.
It's very creative, too.
And then I also finished The Zookeeper's Wife, which is one that I bought at the bookcase. This was a lovely story. And I watched the movie, too. And so, if you're scratched for time, just watch the movie. It'll be okay.
You didn't hear that here.
But if you're a reader, read the book. Because, they just did a lovely job of explaining what happened in Warsaw, Poland during World War II. So that was really great. And then I also read Miracles by C.S. Lewis. I finished that. Great read. He just talks about what a miracle is, and it will just change your perspective on miracles. So that's all from the intro. And then throughout the year, I read The Daughter of Sherlock Holmes, which this is one that I got at the bookcase. This was really good. If you like Sherlock Holmes, you're gonna love this, because this is great. There's so much mystery, there's so much to figure out, and there's a little bit of love in there too. So there's that. And then I also read The Windsor Knot, which I got at Mystery Lovers, and I was so excited to get this because this is about the Queen having a double life and solving mysteries, and the way the Queen did it, it was fabulous. This is such a great story. Go get this. Just put it on your TBR now. Yes, there you go. And then I read a graphic novel. I read Goldilocks, Wanted Dead or Alive. I got this one. I completely booked, and I love fairy tale mashups, and this did a wonderful job. And it took me 2 days to read it.
That's binge reading right there.
I mean, because it's a graphic novel. It's not like there are thousands of words on a page. So I recommend this. I recommend them all. Just add them all to your TBR pile now.
Nice.
All
nice.
right. Your turn.
Deep breath. So on our adventures, I picked up quite a few books, and I don't think I have a complaint about any of them. I think they were all fantastic. So starting with Robert Frost's poems by Louis Untermeyer. I actually got this one not when we were filming, but at our very first trip to Loganberry. So this one, although I've read it, I read poetry books a little differently. I don't read cover to cover. I just kind of cherry pick when I'm in the mood for poetry. So that's kind of how I read this one. But it's Robert Frost. Like, even if you don't know poetry, you know that name. So of course there's that. And then this one I got at the bookcase. This one is The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Bachman. And Michelle told me in the vlog that I was going to love this book, and it was fantastic, and she is absolutely right. The funny thing is, it's not a Christmas, it's a Christmas book, right? But it's not the Christmas book you expect. It's not the theme of it, the purpose of it is much deeper and than what I was expecting. And it's not just a little fluffy Christmas book. It's quite deep and enthralling, and I really loved it. I highly recommend it too. So, in addition to Michelle, and then I also got this one at the bookcase. Yeah.
Bookcase, yeah.
The Girl with Silver Eyes. By Willow Davis Roberts. Absolutely loved this book. I thought it was fantastic. It's definitely written for youthful readers, but there's so much meat on the bone. An adult would enjoy it as well, and I certainly did. It's got a lot of fantasy and a little intrigue in it, and I think anyone would enjoy reading it. It's a girl with silver eyes, and with her eyes come special powers, and navigating childhood and life in her community with these specific powers, learning the limits of when she should use them and when she shouldn't. There's a moral lesson there as well, and I just think it's fantastic. I would highly recommend it. So, in addition to the ones Michelle recommended, add this to your book. Add this to your TBR pile. And then these three, are a lot of fun. So the first one is The Strangers, the Greystone Secrets series. Now, we did not purchase this one on film. We were taking a bookstore adventure, and the store we wanted to go to was closed. So we made a backup plan and went to Barnes & Noble. And they had a really fun thing where and you may have seen this at bookstores you've been to, thank you, that it was wrapped in brown paper, stickers, brief general description of what was within without any actual title. So you have no idea what you're buying, and they called it a date with a book. Blind date with a book. Yeah. Thank you. So this was my blind date with a book, and it did not disappoint. And it started...
we actually both read this one.
Yep.
Yes. So, yes.
Yep. And it was fantastic. It's about a family, 3 children and their mother. The children lost their father before the story begins, and they sort of unintentionally slip into a different world, and it's definitely fantasy, I would say, and it's family, love, suspense. It's adventure. I don't know. It's everything. Everything. Yep. So highly recommend this one. And the sequel is called The Deceivers. And we picked up Deceivers and The Messengers, which is book 3. We picked these two up at Mystery Lovers.
Mystery Lovers.
So
yes.
if you check that blog, you'll see it.
I have read Deceivers. Also, I have not read the third one yet.
I've been through all 3, and I think they're fantastic. I would say the first one is flawless. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. I think the first one was absolutely flawless. I could not put it down. And the second one, I feel like the beginning was slow. Maybe the first half.
It was.
But it picked up, and the second half was fantastic and matched the first.
And, well, I'm going to do a little bit of a spoiler, because you were struggling with this one, and I told you when you got to part 2, they added a character, because each chapter is a different character. And I'm like, they threw in this character. And I think once I told you that, you got reignited with it, because you wanted to get that fourth character's perspective. But
Yeah.
we're not gonna spoil it enough to tell you who the fourth character comes in.
You got to read it to find out.
Yes.
And then the third one, I thought the third one was fantastic too. I think it was a bit more dialogue driven, but the plot line moved along well. I think this author bit off a huge insurmountable challenge because she had to wrap up the fantasy that's involved in the plot, which I won't go into detail for the same reason of not spoiling it. But how you wrap up and explain all of that is a mighty task that the author took on, and I feel like she nailed it. So I absolutely love and recommend it. The books are by Margaret, Peterson, Haddix. So add those three to your TBR pile too. And then last but certainly not least is probably my favorite books and series that I picked up during our adventures. So the first one is An Elderly Lady is Up to No Good by Helene Thurston. And I can't say enough about this. It is very unique. I've never read a book quite like this. The anti-hero is an elderly lady, and she solves her problems in a very extraordinary and devious way. So I don't want to spoil too much, but the title does say she's up to no good, and she definitely was. I would say on a side note, we tend to read more conservative novels. We're not really big on novels with a lot of foul language or adult content. So this one had a little bit of those two elements in. So just be aware of that. If you're sensitive to that, maybe pick something different. The second one was equally good. An Elderly Lady Must Not Be Crossed, Helene Thurston. And I feel like she masterfully wrapped up this series. And it's very unique because it's a collection of short stories. But she moves the plot along with the short stories. So the first novel kind of goes into how she solves her problems, and the second kind of explains why she solves her problems the way she does. And all done through short stories. I love that. I think it's fantastic. And there's travel, there's adventure, obviously mystery and suspense, and I think you'd love it. I think anybody would love it. So so that's all from this season. Let me get us back up here.
That's our reading for the season.
Yeah. We opened up a post to our followers to see if they had any questions for us that they would like us to answer in the prologue. So, for the first question I'll pose to you, Michelle, how do you choose which bookstores you go to see?
Well, so I will watch Facebook and see what comes up in Facebook. And so I have a list running of neat places that I've seen on Facebook. But most of the time, we'll go, let's go to this city. And I'll just Google, bookstores. And then whichever one looks neat. We knew that we were going to go to Loganberry, and we knew that we wanted to do 2 bookstores that day. And so I just, what's in the area of Loganberry? And the other bookstore came up, and yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah, we do look at reviews too to see if there's pictures on Yelp. We want to just kind of get a little clue of what we're going to be seeing on our adventure. So yeah.
Have you ever read the same book as each other and talked about it?
We definitely talked about The Strangers, for sure.
Yes.
We have not actually read that many of the same books. But I would say from this season, these two definitely.
Yes.
We definitely talked about these two because we both read them, The Strangers and The Deal of a Lifetime. And we compared and contrasted our ideas and what we took from the book and things like that, what we thought of the plot and different details of the stories. So, yeah. So, a question for Michelle. You talk about your boss keeping you from reading a lot. If you've watched the vlog videos, you know this is true. So what do you do for a living?
I am a bookkeeper. I work remotely, part-time, for a high-end CPA firm. We mostly do restaurants. So, yes.
Nice.
That's what I do.
Nice.
Okay, so you talk about college preventing you from your reading.
Yes.
What are you studying in college?
I have my associate's degree in early childhood education, and I am now going full-time to get my bachelor's degree in child and family services. So I work as a family advocate, and yeah, it's my goal to finish my degree, even if it kills me and my reading time.
So where do we want to go next?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Is that a legitimate answer? I don't know.
We are talking about going back to Harrisburg and seeing Midtown Scholar, because I think Midtown Scholar was another one that we had went to, posted on Facebook, and
we haven't actually vlogged it yet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we just felt like it was so beautiful that it's like we definitely have to go back to this one. And we have talked about going to Baltimore.
Yep.
And doing some in Baltimore.
We went to the Ivy, and that was one of the places we hadn't vlogged yet. And I'm sure there's others we didn't even discover yet over there.
There is talk of Tracie joining me when I go out to Phoenix for Christmas. And so hopefully we'll get to do that.
Yep, next year.
In the future, yeah.
And then we've also talked about going abroad.
Yes.
And we don't have firm plans on that, but
No.
we would like to. We have goals.
No.
We would love to. We've talked about doing some in New York and Canada, crossing the border and going into Canada. And we've also talked about Michelle found an incredible bookstore in Scotland, and we've considered something bigger like that too. So.
Yeah. So the book festival in Wigtown, Scotland, we'd love to go do that one day.
Yes.
And also in Japan, I know I've shared this with you, but they have a bookstore, and the shelves slide, and there are beds, and you spend the night in the bookstore in Japan.
We might not want to leave. That's the only problem. We'll go and not want to leave.
So, yeah.
Done. Take my money.
That's another one that we would love to go do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what are your reading goals for 2025?
My reading goals for 2025. Let me open up.
She has a list.
Well, no, I want to...
I'm just kidding.
My goal, let me open up Fable and see what I set my goal for, actual book number. But, some of my goals is I need to be reading a book, to rotate through my books, get reading those. And I like keeping the schedule that I have so that I'm reading my nonfiction and stuff like that. My goal for this year is 35, which I don't know if I'm going to do that. I did read 39 last year, but I am starting my accounting degree, so I didn't
Welcome to my world.
Yes. Yes. And Anthony hasn't killed my reading time yet, even though he said he would.
If he won't, school will.
Right. Yeah.
Trust me from personal experience.
Between Anthony and Penn State, reading time is going to go down.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Although I know you're determined. You'll find a way.
Well, I read every night. I do. I read at least one chapter every night.
Love it. That's how you finished 39 novels, 39 books this year.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have a specific reading goal because school. That's the long and short of it. I'm reading a lot of textbooks, and going full time is if you've ever been to school full time, you know what it is. You don't have free time, especially because I work full time also. So, but a goal, I've been trying to read through a certain the certain number on my stack. And the reason is because I wanted to get to this one. I have been dying to read this one from the day I bought it. And it's Need by Carrie Jones. This book sounds fantastic. And I can't wait to give it a try. It's a New York Times bestseller, so I'm not worried about not liking it. And then the other one, if you watched our vlog on Pressed, about at the store Pressed, you'll know what this book is, The Tattooist of Auschwitz, by Heather Morris. Can't wait. These two, can't wait to get to them. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I have more to finish on my TBR pile that I'm in the middle of, and I'm trying to control myself and not just move on and go straight to these ones. But yeah, these are goals for next year.
All right.
Alrighty, that's a wrap on Volume 1. Can you believe it, friend?
Uh-huh.
We made it to this point.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Yep. Thank you to all of our followers and our subscribers. We love you. We appreciate you. And we don't do this very often, but go find us on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and interact with us there.
Yep. Like and subscribe, and we can't wait for the next adventures that are coming up in 2025. Bye for now, friends.